All right, so today we're talking about the major differences between the SRAM Rival AXS system and the SRAM Force AXS system. These are both 12-speed. I have both of these on my bikes. So on my checkpoint, I have the SRAM Force system, and on my crux, I have the SRAM Rival system. The short of this is, if your bike supports UDH, I would just immediately opt for the new 13-speed, the transmission system that works directly with the UDH. You're gonna have much better gearing and just an overall better drivetrain experience. A lot of older gravel bikes don't support the UDH, so you may be stuck with the 12-speed. My Specialized Crux does not support UDH. I don't have an option for it on this build. I know the newer ones do, so I'm stuck with the 12-speed. My checkpoint does support UDH, so at some point I will upgrade to the UDH here. So I'd say aesthetically, there's really not a whole lot of differences between the two systems. You can see here, SRAM Force, these are carbon. They're black, they're kind of slim, the hoods are kind of slim. Same thing here, so these are aluminum levers. They are black as well. You really can't notice a difference. The hoods are slightly wider on the SRAM Rival, really not anything you would ever notice. Down here, the derailleurs, all of this is really similar. So this is the SRAM Rival derailleur and the cranks. If you look here, this is the Force cranks and the derailleur. Overall, it looks almost identical. The major difference here is this SRAM Force, these are carbon cranks, and the levers are also carbon. This one also has a power meter. The gearing is exactly the same between these two. So on both cassettes, I have a 1044 tooth, on that one too. From a performance perspective, I would say these two systems work very similarly when they are both clean. So when they're both clean and they are lubed up and they're nice and, nice and clean, they both work very similarly. However, when you get them out in the dirt and in the mud, and when you're using them, the SRAM Force has clear advantages as you get it dirtier and grimier and nastier. It just doesn't gum up. The SRAM Rival system, for whatever reason, gums up a lot. And what I've noticed is when I'm in a low gear and the chain is nice and gummed up and it's not super clean and I've been on a dusty ride, if I'm pedaling fast and I stop, it will actually carry its momentum and throw itself off my big ring up front. This chain just gums up a lot, whereas I have never had any issues like that on the SRAM Force chain. I would say that would be the biggest thing to think about. If you do a lot of like really nasty gravel riding, I would opt for the SRAM Force system, just because for me personally, I've gotten a lot of better performance out of the SRAM Force when the trails have been nasty than I have out of the SRAM Rival system. It's just a personal preference of mine, but I've just really gravitated towards the Force. I just haven't had the best experience with the SRAM Rival. For 90% of people, the SRAM Rival is going to be a fine system, but if you do a lot of riding, a lot of miles, a lot of everything, I would just opt for a higher quality system. Other two things to note on this is, overall, the SRAM Force system is lighter. It's about 200 grams lighter, so maybe a water bottle's weight. It's really not a huge difference. And then the SRAM Rival uses a spring dampener on the derailleur versus the SRAM Force system uses a fluid dampener. So when you're riding like washboard or really rough sections, you do notice a quieter derailleur on the SRAM Force system. So generally, I think most people are going to be really happy with the SRAM Rival. It's a great system for road bikes. It works really well, but for me, it doesn't hold up under like really heavy usage. Obviously, the premium is going to be the SRAM Force, and you're going to get much more performance out of that. Yeah, I personally have not been super impressed with the SRAM Rival system. When I'm riding the bike as a road bike, like, it works fine, but anytime I go off-road or I go in the dirt or mud or anything like that, it just kind of breaks down on me, and it just doesn't work the way I wish it would. Whereas the SRAM Force, like, I rarely clean that thing. I ride it everywhere. I put a lot of miles on it. I've never had any issues with it. So I'm going to give preference to the SRAM Force for me, just because I do a lot of mileage. But again, both these systems are really good systems. The caveat, obviously, with this is, like I mentioned, if you have a UDH compliant frame and a UDH hanger, I would just immediately opt for the 13-speed. Those are going to be a much better gearing setup. You're going to have better gearing ratios. It's just going to be cleaner, smoother shifting all around. So I have it on the docket to upgrade my checkpoint at some point to that new 13-speed transmission system. But overall, I've done a lot of miles on both these systems. preference to the Force just because I get a lot more performance out of it. But overall, they're very similar. For most people, you're gonna be fine with the SRAM Rival unless you do a lot of like really nasty hard riding.